Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel where we dive deep into the intricacies of relationships and the lessons we learn along the way. Today, I have a story that explores the themes of trust, doubt, and the consequences of testing love. It's titled, I Tested My Girlfriend's Love by Pretending to be Bankrupt and She Disappeared. So, grab a seat, get comfortable, and let's explore this emotional roller coaster together. I looked at Tori, who deftly took the roll with the stick and put it in her mouth. She acted as if she had been going to restaurants since childhood, although she lived in a small apartment and worked as an accountant. Tori looked great. It seems that she has rich parents who constantly pamper their daughter, and she doesn't get out of the spa. The girl licked her lips and smiled at him. Al met Tori at the gym. He came to run on the treadmill, and Tori was engaged in walking. A conversation began between them. She turned out to be a very interesting and quick-witted girl, so the young man's head quickly went around. Al was fascinated by her sincerity and spontaneity. But then, relatives and friends began to give advice to the guy. Al's mother said that he chose a girl for himself from the category of those who only need money from a man. His mother reproachfully expressed, his father supported her with a displeased expression on his face. Al tried to think differently. He was fine with Tori. He didn't believe that she was a windy girl or a liar. But those around him stubbornly imposed a completely different opinion on him. Therefore, condemnation settled in his soul like a heavy stone, no matter how much he wanted to get rid of them. But Al increasingly began to notice the fact that he began to treat Tori differently than before. He constantly tried to find a catch in her behavior. He wanted to understand if she was really interested in him or if she only needed his money. And one day, he decided to talk to Andrew, his good old buddy, about Tori and his parents' relationship with her. Andrew said, Tori is a 100% hunter for wealth. Don't you yourself understand this? Do you think she earns money as an accountant for all this beauty? Al swallowed hard. Do all girls look beautiful only thanks to beauty salons? If a girl is well-groomed, then she is necessarily a hunter for wealth? He had many thoughts in his head, and each thought gave birth to a new doubt inside. Andrew spoke with a sly smile. And you check her out. Give her some expensive jewelry. If she agrees and accepts the gift, then she is definitely the same hunter. Al decided to try. Before that, he gave Tori only flowers and invited her on a date. And now he decided to buy her a gold chain with an emerald pendant, which would perfectly match the color of her eyes. When he presented the gift, Tori didn't refuse. She calmly accepted the chain and said that she had not been given such expensive gifts before, and she was very pleased. Al didn't understand anything at all. How should he perceive her behavior now? She's actually a hunter for wealth. Or an honest adult who doesn't want to waste her time needlessly rejecting gifts and bickering, just because pretty much everyone does it out of sheer shyness. He had even more questions, and Al didn't know how to find out exactly what Tori wanted. The man was embarrassed to directly invite her to draw up a marriage contract. He believed that he should share everything with his wife, at least in half. If not, give her everything, because she would support him and keep the house comfortable, because she would bear him children in the future, because she simply exists and that she chose him, although there are a lot of men around. His father sat at a family dinner noticing his son's condition. Al didn't quite understand him. What? His father advised. Pretend to be bankrupt. It's simple. Tell her you've lost everything and live for a few days in a rented apartment. Take public transport and see if your beauty girl stays with you or runs away from you. Al liked his father's proposal. The thought was actually correct. This way, he would be able to make sure that Tori loves him. Otherwise, he didn't want to think about another scenario, but at least he would not make the most serious mistake in his life if the girl disappeared. He would not marry the girl who needed only his finances. And now, as they sat in the Japanese restaurant, Al looked at Tori and prepared to tell her the lies he'd come up with overnight. But his tongue didn't want to turn. Al started. Tori, something happened to me. And he paused, noticing her worried look. This is probably the last time we have dinner at a restaurant. Tori was surprised. Why? You say that like you want to leave me. Al said with difficulty. No, they blocked all my accounts. Here's what's left of my cash. My apartment was also sealed, and my business is on the verge of bankruptcy. A bunch of checks from the tax and other nonsense. I'm not sure that I can afford all this, even if I return to work as a simple financer. Tori forced a smile and lowered her head. At that moment, something inside Al broke off. It seemed to him that he said goodbye to the woman whom he considered the best in the world. Tori didn't say anything else. And when Al saw her off, she just kissed him sparingly on the cheek and left. It's been 3 days, and Tori hasn't called him or even texted him. Al wanted to dial her number, but didn't dare. She made a decision and chose not him. So she didn't really love him. The man played this thought over and over in his head. However, 6 months of a happy relationship couldn't just disappear from his thoughts. They left an indelible mark. Al wanted to talk to the girl and sort out the situation. He even considered telling her that he lied about his financial situation. But then, Tori would have returned to him solely because of the money. Such a relationship would clearly have lost its passion and sincerity. Al began to frequent the cafe that he and Tori often went to when they were walking along the promenade together. He bought himself a coffee, sat down at a table, and looked out the window. In his mind, he returned to the moments when they wandered along the shore holding hands. He remembered her smile, jokes, stories about work, and his soul became very heavy. Tori strongly sunk into the soul of a man, and she didn't want to leave from there. The rings of bells on the cafe door brought the man back to reality. Al glanced towards the entrance and froze. Tori entered the cafe. She smiled with some sadness, as if she didn't expect to see him and was not glad to meet him. But she sat down at Al's table anyway and greeted him. The man remarked, "Hi, Tori." He had no idea what they could talk about. Only a week and a half had passed, and his soul went to his heels as soon as he saw her. And in that second, he was ready to confess everything and ask her to come back because he missed her. He went crazy without her. The girl started first. "How are you doing? I see that everything is fine with your business. I recently saw your interview on TV." Al opened his mouth, but closed it because the waiter came, and he could at least gather his thoughts a little to properly express what was on his soul. Tori ordered ice cream and coffee with cream, and the waiter left. Al looked at the girl. It was hard for him to even breathe, being next to her and realizing that she couldn't belong to him and that all her love was feigned. And now she approached him, most likely because she saw his interview on TV. "Tori, I have to tell you something." Al hesitated to reveal his lies, although he wanted to tell her that she had failed the test. She whispered, "Speak." Al said and lowered his head. There was no bankruptcy. He had no idea where this conversation would lead, but he had to open his soul and tell her that she broke his heart and maybe he would feel better. "You decided to test me. I knew about it from the very beginning, even when you started talking to me then. Why do you think I decided to disappear from your life?" Al's eyes went wide. He felt restless in his soul, as if he had been circled around his finger, or were trying to do it now. "Then why didn't you say it right away?" Tori pursed her lips, turned to look out the window, and said, "Did I have to tell you something? Almost from the very beginning, I felt distrust on your part. When we first met, I felt so warm and good with you. I was sure that I had found the very man I could rely on, whom I could trust, and that it would be mutual. But it didn't last long. After meeting your parents, I felt pressured. It hasn't let go of me for a second since that day. You started acting like you were eyeing me, like you wanted to catch me right-handed, like some kind of thief. And after meeting your friends, you began to find fault with me for all sorts of trifles. Oh, do you think I didn't see the face you gave me that pendant with? Tori touched her fingers to the chain that hung around her neck, and then she unfastened the clasp. She took off the chain with the pendant and placed it in front of the man. You were waiting for me to start reacting like those naive girls who are waiting for such a gift. But when they receive it, they begin to pretend that it's so unexpected. You and I are both adults. Why did you have to arrange this test for me? Why didn't you trust me? Why do you doubt me? Didn't you feel my sincerity and love? Al had nothing to say. His temples throbbed and all the words were scattered in different directions. There was a void in his head. That's why Tori looked at him with such sadness then. She knew everything. She felt. And she didn't want to talk because she was in pain. The waiter brought Tori's order. She drank coffee and started eating ice cream, and Al didn't know what to say to her. He just sat, looked at the chain she took off her neck, and was silent, realizing that he himself had broken his love. If you gave me a second chance, I would fix everything. That's the only thing Al could say. Why would you need a second chance? Tori took the money out of her purse and put it on the table. She rose to her feet and looked at the man. You are too dependent on someone else's opinion, and I need a reliable person who will love me and trust me even if everyone around is against me. Unfortunately, people don't change at the snap of their fingers, and I don't believe that this will not happen again. Sorry, I have to run. I was glad to meet you, but that's all, and please don't try to find me, and better. Tori thought for a moment, sighed heavily, and added, don't try to bring me back, but reconsider your behavior and attitude to life. You can't be led by someone else's opinion all your life. Tori is gone. It was hard for her to be around Al, but she understood that his test and distrust would not allow them to be truly happy. She couldn't stay near him, and he just sat, looked after her, and couldn't move because he actually screwed everything up and let go of the person who could replace the whole world for him. If this story touched your heart, please give this video a thumbs up and share it with others who might need to hear it. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon so you never miss a new story. We'd love to hear your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more